No. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Talk the Real Deal with AT2 hashtag TTRD. And I have a special guest with me returning back to the show, Tiff. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, people. I took over his show again. He bring me back, and I take over. So he just gonna have to live with
Right. We're supposed to be co-hosts, but actually she can take over the show. I'm like, you know how like usually like the late night talk show got like the little sidekick or whatever that just laugh at the jokes. That's what I do whenever
it.
Tiff
No,
is.
that's not true.
But anyway, you guys, I wanted to say today's a special episode because um really we're not diving into politics, but it has to deal with politics. I think a lot that has been going on is that, and I had played a clip for Tiff before we actually started the show, where it's like we have black celebrities representing us, and they don't. Whenever it's black issues, they don't get like a economist or a politician or someone who is an expertise in the field. They get a celebrity. That's how we end up with Ice Cube, Lil Wayne. So this was kind of this actually. I want to thank Tiff for bringing this to my attention because I actually wanted to speak about this topic, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. But when Tiff mentioned it to me, I was like, okay, I think people want to hear this and they want to hear a different perspective because believe it or not, all black people do not think alike and we're all not stupid. I think there's an idea that black people just vote Democrat and they don't know anything better. They don't black people, we don't know what's best for us. I feel like that has been the elephant in the room. Would you say the same thing, Tiff?
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah, but we
Um,
actually don't have any loyal to any I'll say political party per se. We go with who will at least, I wouldn't even say give us a seat at the table, who will just let us stand on the back wall in the room. That's who we go with.
well, that's what our grandparents and our parents do. But I see. I don't vote because I'm black, and that's where I think a lot of people are getting the things mixed up. See, Ice Cube is like, oh, well, yeah, your parents and well, your great parents, your great grandparents, your grandparents, they had to fight, to have a seat at the table, and some of them died to get that seat, for us to all have a seat, and it's like then you go into well that's not what they set out to do. And then he didn't really elaborate on that conversation. It was just a 1 minute clip. I think he had a point when he was saying it, but to just go off of what he said, he's dead ass wrong, first of all. And it's disrespectful because it is something that that black people had to fight for. And it's something that a lot of people still have to fight for to this day. Most felons cannot vote. They've lost that right to vote. And they
Right.
have to fight just to be able to cast a vote. And the Republicans and many Democrats do not want felons to be able to vote because they feel like it can swing the favor of any election, whether it be local, federal, or
Right.
statewide. It doesn't matter.
Well,
Um,
remember in Florida, they actually passed a law that let convicted felons actually vote, but they had to pay off I forgot what you call it, but had to pay their fees and everything like that
yeah,
in
and
order
then
to
still
be
they
eligible.
those Yeah, and then the judges still give them a hard time when they get
Hmm.
ready to try to, be able to get themselves acclimated back into voting. And the issue is not, I'll make it very simple. The issue is not whether these people can do anything for the black community, because I feel like that is always the key on what can you do for the black community. If you know anything about government, then you understand that there is only a mandated law that the president can create that has to be executed on a state and local level,
Right.
which means it is at the governor's discretion as to whether that law will be put into effect and actually utilized. Now, if you don't believe me, you know what I'm saying? Because they have manipulated the laws so that laws that were created to protect us have also been used against us. That's where we have the super predator law. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, I I can't stress enough for you to understand how our government works. Before you start listening to people who don't have an idea of how it works, you need to learn how it works. We learned basic government in high school. Most of us are over the age of 25. And if you're over the age of 25 and your ass didn't pay attention in government, that's your fault.
Right.
That's your fault because you had the book. You should have been reading it. It
Right.
is
And Tiff, before
it's
you go on, I just
simple.
want to say, Tracy said, I voted. If you haven't received your mail ballot, you need to go vote. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. I actually didn't receive my mail-in ballot, so I'm going to the polls to go vote. So thank you for that comment. Go ahead,
I
Tiff.
have to go. I have to go vote too because I didn't receive mine.
Yeah. I know. What's
So
going on
I
with that? Why
had
didn't
to
we
mail it
receive
in.
our ballot?
I was I don't know. I didn't get mine, but my husband and my husband and my father, they got their mail in ballots, but I didn't get mine. But I sent for mine at the same time that they sent for theirs. So I
Hmm.
was like, okay. I was like, all right. So today I was looking through the mail and I was able to get it, and I'm just gonna drop it off downtown at the board of elections. But
Right, because you can't mail it off now. You actually have to take it down there. For those of you watching that that haven't turned in your mail-in ballot already, you have to take
yeah,
it
it
down there
has
because
to.
by the time they get it, it's yeah.
Yeah, if it comes after the board after the third, it is it can be counted as long as it's post dated the 40th. So I would recommend you get up and drop it off in the drop off box at the board of elections. They have one. All you have to do is call and find out where it is. But
Okay. And Tracy
as
said she
long
got hers. She lives in San Diego. Oh, okay, fellow Californian. Wait, we are not called Californians, but you know what I mean.
I I just want people to stop having that mindset, and I want you to really research all the candidates and stop looking to Republicans and Democrats. When you understand that the system was not built for it to be a two party system to begin with, then you'll begin to understand that there's a bigger picture here. They want us to believe that this is a two party system. And even though George Washington was a horrible individual in terms of how he treated black people and his slaves, he did have a valid point about warning the government and warning the United States that if we continue down this path of just focusing on the Democrats and Republicans, it would lead us to the place where we are now. He foreshadowed
Right,
this happening, and it is what happened. It's because they don't want it to be a more than a two party system. They want it to be so that it's a Democrat and Republican type of thing, so that when it comes time, one side can have more power than the other, and that's
right.
why
It's all
we
about
have
greed and money at the end of the day.
with both sides though. And
Yes,
I know that
definitely.
sometimes the Democrats try to make it seem like, oh, the Republicans are more evil than the Democrats. They both have a hidden agenda that doesn't always benefit the people. And I'm a firm believer in yes, the black community needs help, but if the entertainers are looking to government, my question is y'all have money, y'all have affluence, y'all have power. Why are you not coming back into the community and doing better in the community? Why are you running behind Donald Trump, licking his ass and talking to all these politicians when you have money, you could just donate to the community. You want better food for the black community, build a community
Exactly.
garden and set it up so that you
And
teach the kids how to grow food.
right. And I
What are
want
you
to give a
doing?
shout out to Marshawn Lynch, because he is from Oakland and he actually has invested in properties. He always gives food to the community, and he's really, because they had asked him like, "Oh, why don't you work with some politicians?" He's all like, "I'm not going to work with politicians. I'm going to give the money directly to the people." So I want to give
And
a
that's
shout
what
out
I'm
to
saying.
him.
And
But
that's what
I
I'm
do want to say
saying.
something because I do believe that, as far as for just anybody, you have to work with all parties. It doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. You have to work with all parties. But I want to play a clip because I feel like when someone kind of lets you know that they don't really rock with you, how are you supposed to really like how are you supposed to really work with that person? I just want to show you something, and some of you might say this is biased, but I just put this together real quick.
BLM. It's really hurting the black community. It's hurting the black community. This is an unusual name for an organization whose ideology and tactics are right now destroying many black lives, and whose first phrase was, you remember this, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon, referring to our police. That's referring to our police. The stated
isolated and put you in a cave to a certain extent is it put me and I think lots of white privileged people in a cave, and that we have to work our way out of it to understand the anger and the pain particularly black people feel in this country.
No, you really drank the Kool-Aid, didn't you? Just listen to you. Wow. No, I don't feel that.
Decide to do that, to end racial sensitivity training? And do you believe that there is systemic racism in this country, sir?
I ended it because it's racist. I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane, that it was a radical revolution that was taking place in our military, in our schools, all over the place, and you know it. And
um, you're asking how do you work with someone who you know is not exactly trying to have your favor. You leverage the fact that they need you. Is how you do it. Which is what I imagine Ice Cube was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? I imagine that's what he was trying to do, as well as
Right.
what Diddy and the rest of the idiots have been trying to do. But at the same time, it's like my grandma used to say, the devil tends to show you who he is. It's up to you to decide if you're going to recognize what he's showing you. I I I don't think that I could, in good conscience, be like, that's a person that I can work with. Like you see Kim and the rest of the people like utilizing the fact that they're celebrities and the fact that Donald Trump is so fame hungry. She
He
used
loves
it and was
celebrity.
able, yeah, and she used it and was able to get people out of prison. And that part of about Kim, I can respect. I'm not a big
Right.
fan of Kim Kardashian, but I do respect the fact that she did everything she could to get those people out of jail because they were wrongfully convicted and they were just rotting in prison. So that part, I'm like, you know what, Kim, kudos to you. I got you.
Yeah.
But
And she kept a
it's
professional relationship with Trump too, as well. So I give her credit for that. Where there was a lot of times they wanted to do like a photo op and stuff like that, and she was all like, "I don't really want to do that." She didn't want to do the whole like celebrity thing. Like she used her celebrity to get people out of jail, but she didn't want to do the whole thing with the photo shoots, the photo op, and all that stuff. So I appreciate that she kept a professional relationship with Trump and not all about it wasn't like a Kanye meeting, it wasn't all that
oh
BS
Lord have
that went
mercy,
on.
Jesus.
So I
Poor
respect her for that.
Kanye. Poor Kanye. Poor Kanye. Um,
I don't think for him at all.
I
He
do
does
because
it
I
to
feel like
himself.
yeah, but at the same time, I genuinely think something's wrong with Kanye. I can't imagine it good. Well, in this day and age, you see a lot of things, and you're like, something about that ain't right. Lil Wayne out here hugged up with with Donald Trump now, and everybody's losing their shit. They're mad, and it's like this. It's a very simple concept when it comes to voting, and understanding the power of your vote, at the end of the day, it's your vote. They don't
Right.
influence how you vote. Like, why do you care? And they're like, oh, he hugged up with Donald Trump. I'm like, what is Lil Wayne gonna be able to change about your way of life? How does that affect you in
Right.
any
And
way,
most people
shape,
have
or
already
form?
voted.
It doesn't affect you. It doesn't, and I'm sorry, but Ice Cube doesn't affect me either. Ice Cube makes
Right.
movies and TV shows, and he does the big three, and that's all I care about when it comes to Ice Cube. I don't care about your politics. I just don't, because you don't have any vested interest in politics at all. So I'm not
Right.
understanding why people are so up in arms because if they're going and talking to Donald Trump. I don't give a shit. Let them do what they want to do. Donald Trump is only going to
Right.
do what he feels is going to advance him in some kind of way. If he feels like,
And I
oh, Ice
wanted to
Cube
go
is
back to
endorsing me,
Ice Cube now that you
yeah,
mentioned it, because with Ice Cube, I'm not mad that he had a meeting with Trump's people and stuff like that and discussed his plan, the contract with Black America, his plan. So I don't mind that he went to go speak with them because I think it's something that you should do. What I have a problem is that you didn't admit it until one of his advisors was all like, oh, we're working with Ice Cube because they wanted the whole celebrity thing again. Oh, we're working with Ice Cube. They even had one of, I think it was Donald Trump Jr. No, it was one of
yeah,
the
it was
Trump
him.
that shared a photo with Ice Cube and 50 Cent in a Trump hat. It was photoshopped, of course, but they photoshopped a Trump hat on both of them, saying like, "Oh, they're with Trump." It's just ridiculous. And that's the thing. Like, you need to get ahead of things and be like, "Hey, I reached out to these people. This is what happened." Because I don't think Ice Cube would have ever said that. Trump people reached out to him or he reached out to them in regards to what they wanted to do for the black community if Trump people didn't care about the whole celebrity thing and bust them out almost, exposed them. How you feel
I
about it?
think I think Ice Cube did something very stupid. I think that he should have been smarter than that. I think that in this day and age, with the election being so close, he did something very stupid. I think
Hmm.
at the bare minimum, if he was going to have this conversation, he should have had the conversation earlier in the election, like right when Biden was announced to be the front runner for the Democrats. It would have looked less like a ploy and more like a genuine concern to see where both candidates were coming from.
Or
Instead, you
what
wait
about he
almost
talked to him
less than two
4
weeks.
years ago when he first got into office? Maybe he should have did that.
I mean, maybe, but even then, with Donald Trump, you don't really have much of a leverage. I mean, the HBCUs did it, and it didn't work out for them. They sat down and had a whole conversation with him and that pastor that's from here. Oh my God, that was a bad taste in my mouth. But anyway, the pastor, that pastor that's from here, he got him speaking for the black people, and it was just like they're all having this conversation, and nothing came from it. They didn't get anything out of it. They didn't have a conversation about anything. They just talked about nothing, and then nothing was done. So
Right.
my thing
It,
was,
it
if
was
you're
it
gonna
was a
do
good
this,
dinner and a photo op. That's what it was. Dinner and a
yeah.
photo op. That's what they got
My
out of
thing
it.
was, if you were gonna have this conversation with both sides, and Joe Biden's side was like, listen, I don't want to sit down with you and make it look like we're just trying to get on people's side. Joe Biden was like, if we win the election, I'm more than willing to have this conversation with you. But as of
Right.
right now, we're focused on trying to win the election. So Ice Cube was like, okay, I've been rebuffed. He goes over to Donald Trump. Of course, they welcomed him with open arms. This was another way for them to show the black community that they're trying to work with Ice Cube and they're trying to work with the black community to one, get their vote, and to two, make their lives better. And the reality
Right.
is it's just not true. It's just not true. You have
And I
no
wanted to
intentions of doing any
speak
of that.
Right, and I wanted to speak to that too because I know I did hear when Ice Cube said, well, I did see when he said that he reached out to Joe Biden's people and they were like, we'll reach out to you after the election. I think two things. I think one, because and a lot of black people say like, well, Joe Biden doesn't have a plan for us. Well, actually he does. It's called Lift Every Voice. It's on the website. Look on the website. And
He has a
then
lot of
two,
plans, actually. Just
huh?
not to cut him off, not to cut you off, but he has a lot of plans. Like
Yes, a
plans
lot.
for women, disabled people, veterans. He has plans for kids, education, for the Social Security reform. He has plans for criminal justice reform. There's a breakdown plan for everything, and these plans are like 10 and 20 pages long. They're extensive and very detailed plans. They're not just something that's okay. I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna say that they're detailed plans. I'll say that.
Right. And also, I do know that Kamala Harris actually reached out to Ice Cube, but Ice Cube, in fairness, did not want to do it because he was going to be on a Zoom call with other celebrities, and he felt like he should have got a personal call. So I didn't want to mention that. Go ahead, Tiff.
uh, I don't like it. Like I said, I just feel like Ice Cube should have been smarter than that. And um, as far as Kamala Harris reaching out to him and wanting to have a meeting with a Zoom call with other people, I can see how that could come across as disingenuous. And it just seems like you want to get the collective together. But at the same time, I would want to have a meeting of the minds too. You know, like if you're going to do this, more than one person needs to be a part of that. I also think Ice Cube is, although he's trying, I'm not going to shit on him too much, excuse my language. I'm not going to down him too much,
Right.
but I feel like he could have went a different route. Like you completely bypassed the NAACP. You completely bypassed a lot of grassroots organizations, not necessarily Black
The
Lives
Black
Matter,
Caucus.
but yeah, you got so many different places that you could have went through and funneled this plan through so that it actually was fine tuned and really set in motion what could be done for the
Yeah.
Black
Instead
community.
of saying like
You
I
just,
had my people look at it. Who are your people? Like I want to know who's sponsoring this. You know, who did you work with? That's what I want to know. You know what I mean?
I don't, at this point, I really don't care. I'm
Oh,
gonna be honest. I just don't care. I don't
oh, okay. Or
care
we don't
enough.
care.
No, I don't care enough about it to give him any energy in that regard. You don't have the qualifications to do it. That's my
Okay.
point.
Right. Okay. We got a comment. Joe Biden has a plan. It's the crime bill, and then they followed up with locked up more Black Americans than any other law in American history. I want
Well,
to
if you're
speak to
gonna
this.
go, if you're gonna
Go
go
ahead, Tiff.
there, there's more than just Joe Biden that was a part of that. So was what's his name? There was plenty of senators who were a part of that. They all were a part of the crime bill. It was a bipartisan crime bill.
Yes.
It was not a Democrat crime bill. And
The
so was
Congressional
your
Black Caucus also was supported that crime bill as well, because let's not forget that in the Black community, crack cocaine was introduced to those communities. And I'm not going to put out conspiracy theorists, but it didn't get there by magic. Remember, those things, the way those things were handled were horrendous. So it was a last attempt, a desperation. And yes, it did affect a lot of minorities and particularly Black people. But at the same time, it was a bipartisan bill, like you said, Tiff. It wasn't just the Democrats did it, or it was Joe Biden's crime bill. You know what I mean?
it's not his crime bill at all. And quite frankly, it wasn't created in the beginning to attack African American people or marginalize people of color. It happened, it
Right.
was used that way. That happens all the time. And that's, I don't think that they had ill intentions in creating the law, but they did use the law to attack the black community. It is what it is.
Dak Dog 320 said, "Bipartisan, my ass." Get out of here. Keep going, Tiff. Hey, we ain't listening to nobody who ain't got a profile picture. So get the fuck out of here. Anyway, go ahead, Tiff. Hey, Kenny.
At this point, I welcome the debate. If he feels like he has the information to back what he's saying, that's fine. But
Yeah,
I'm just
I just want to
gonna,
know if it wasn't bipartisan, then what was it? Like, how did it get passed?
because it wasn't majority Democrats in the House at that time, they were equaled out, so it was a bipartisan bill. But if you say that he did it, you're entitled to your opinion. Good for you. You're allowed to vote. And here's another thing: you can vote for whoever the hell you want. I don't give a shit who you vote for. If you want to vote for Donald Trump, be my guest. But in my mind, just like it was 4 years ago, you vote for the lesser of the two evils. You're sitting and worried about this crime bill that, quite frankly, has been obviously blown up, and we all know about it. And if they start, they're using it still. Nobody's
Hmm.
saying anything about fixing the bill. Nobody's saying anything about changing the bill, but you're
Right.
mad about the bill being crafted and bragged about on many occasions. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
That dog breaking, how do we fix it?
what are the
You
current
know?
senators that are a part of the Senate and the House doing to fix it? Nobody's doing anything to fix it. No one's doing anything to rectify it. And quite frankly, the president of the United States, President Trump, is using that bill to continue to beat down African Americans.
Right.
Meanwhile, Joe
Isn't
Biden
he law and
has
order?
that's his thing.
Law
Meanwhile,
and
Joe
order.
Biden has admitted to the wrongdoing of the bill and how it was used to target the African American community. So you can't bring up the bill and say, "Oh, he bragged about it," and then not mention the fact that he's also admitted that he made a mistake, which most people do. He's a human being. So if the man is trying and you can't accept that he's trying, that's fine. Vote for who you want. But you're not voting for new people to be senators because the same people are being senators. If it was an issue with Joe Biden and this bill, if this bill was the biggest problem you had, then the people that Joe Biden represents should have been voting his ass out. But you didn't do that. You left him in office, and he's been in office for what? Over 20 plus years, almost 40 plus years.
Right. And that's my thing. And I'm going to do the whole party politics for a minute. That's my thing with Republicans when they talk about the crime bill and Joe Biden. He affected so many black people and all this stuff. But yet, when you have a conversation about race, it's all like race and racism. It's all like, what? What are you talking about? That doesn't exist. Like, what are you saying? I actually had somebody in my comment section before, and he stated that, oh, I'm sorry that you feel that African Americans are treated unjustly in this country. That I feel that way. Not that it's a proven fact, which it is. He was sorry that I felt that way. And then he said something about like how it was. He tried to debunk that it wasn't true or something like that. So these are the kind of people that talk about the Joe Biden crime bill, but then don't believe in racism or anything like that. So I mean, I played you the clip of Trump that he said that the racial sensitivity training was racist, so he got rid of it. So
I lost the
oh,
sound.
okay, that dog. I'm glad. Okay, I'm glad that you do believe in racism. I am happy about that. Thank you.
No one accused Trump supporters of being racist. Who said that?
Right. I never accuse Trump supporters of being racist.
No
Now,
one said a Trump supporter is racist. Who said
yeah.
that? Wow, I feel like you're just in here to troll. It just
That's cool.
no
That
one
dog
said
can
that.
get
Like
in
I'm
here and
trying to figure
troll.
out when. Who said that? Wow.
Black Lives Matter and Antifa do. Can we talk about
Uh,
that? I want to talk about Black Lives Matter first. I don't want to, because I don't want to do the whole I speak for all black people, but I feel like I do when I say this. When I or anyone else says Black Lives Matter, we're not talking about the organization. We just mean that we matter. What
that
about you, Tiff?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I
so
know
I
nothing
never go
about the
like
Black Lives
Black
Matter
Lives Matter
organization.
organization. I just say Black Lives Matter. And Antifa, I don't know too much about Antifa. All I know is that it's supposed to stand for anti-fascist. And, do I believe that they do everything right by, you know, fighting or antagonizing and shit like that? But, I do believe that they do have a voice, and I feel that they try to spin it that Antifa is with the Democrats, but honestly, what Antifa stands for, what supposedly stands for, it's nothing that even relates to Joe Biden. They're their own thing.
Um, I don't. Why does my sound keep going out?
I noticed it was going out. I was trying to cover it up.
I'm
You know,
sorry.
you playing it off.
I called you out. I'm sorry. I called you out. My bad.
Oh no, yeah, it's
I'm,
fine.
I'm like, what did I do? Did I touch something? Did I move? What did I do? um,
Right.
I'm not a fan of. I don't know much about Antifa to have an opinion of them, so I don't necessarily have an opinion of Antifa in that regard. I don't really back the Black Lives Matter organization either because they do have some things that they do that I don't agree with. They do operate under some things they say and do I don't agree with. So I can't 100% back Black Lives Matter, and I don't know enough about Antifa to even consider having a conversation about them. I don't speak on things that I don't know. So as far as those two organizations are concerned, they exist and they do what they do, but that doesn't have anything to do with me. When I say Black Lives Matter, I'm talking about black lives that are being killed in the street and they're dying for no reason and there's no explanation as to why they're dying. Police are not de-escalating situations and they're killing them. They're dying in front of our eyes. And when I say Black Lives Matter, that's what I mean. I should not have to
Right.
have a combative conversation about when I say, well, I feel Black Lives Matter because you're seeing Black lives being killed. And then you run it back
Right.
and say,
And
well,
Kenny said,
all
and
lives matter.
anybody
Yeah,
who
we
got a
know that.
problem with
But
me
clearly
or
our
any
lives,
other. Oh, go ahead, Tiff. I was just reading the comment.
oh no, no problem. No, it's just in no, like sound is going out. I can't.
Yeah, the sound went
So
out. Let me go ahead and read the comment and then I'll let you go, okay?
sure, go ahead.
It says, Kenny said, and anybody who got a problem with me or any other black person saying Black Lives Matter, my life matters, they can kiss my ass. Oh, thank you, Kenny. Okay. Well, here's my thing because Dak Dog said all lives matter. And I feel like when people say that, I feel like they almost are calling me the N word. That's how disrespectful I feel that all lives matter is because I feel like if
Jesus.
all lives I feel like with the whole all lives matter thing, it's a rebuttal. Just like blue lives matter, it's a rebuttal. But you would never say all lives or blue lives matter until if there was no black lives matter.
Mm. Uh, I don't equate it to the N word. I don't equate. I don't do that.
You know I'm overly emotional, that's why. But yeah, I equate it to the N word. But what about you, Tiff?
No one is. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. No one said you're racist, bro. Like, relax, breathe.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I don't think all lives matter are racist. I think they're tone
I'm
deaf.
only speaking for myself. No one said you're racist. Um, I, I just, you can't. When I say Black Lives Matter, and you say, well, all lives matter, it negates the point, and it's just like you are trying to somehow like mix it. You weigh. I want they're weighing out the same, and it doesn't because we all know that the scales are tipped. And if you don't know that and you don't understand that, then that's on you. I can't explain it any further than that. And I am not going to because I feel like I shouldn't have to. You watch the same videos that I've seen. You see these people dying. You see them being killed. They're being shot. They're either being killed by chokeholds. They have knees on their throat. And all these other kinds of things are happening. You're seeing this. It's visible. So it's not like you're not seeing what I see. So I can't explain it anymore to you. If you don't understand what I'm trying to say, then that's on you. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I have no desire to continue to explain that point over and over and over again when you and I are looking at the same thing and people are dying. And the first thing you can come up with is all lives matter because I'm saying that Black lives do matter.
Right. Thank you, Homer. I appreciate that. What I want to say, because I want to,
Just,
I'm going to wrap up
it
this
just is
point
what it
about
is.
Black Lives. I'm going to wrap up this point about Black Lives Matter. It doesn't matter if it's a black cop or a white cop. It doesn't matter who's being killed. It's the issue if somebody is losing their life, and especially when we see a lot of these cases, it's over traffic tickets or a traffic situation. Nobody should lose their life over that. That's dumb. That's stupid. And then on top of that, I want to speak to the rioting and looting, because those are two separate things, like protester and then rioting and looting. Those people are trying to cause chaos, and then if you're protesting, you have a message and you're trying to create change. But I want to say, no matter how many places get looted and what goes on, what kind of destruction goes on, I'm still always going to say Black Lives Matter, because they do. That's all I got to say about that point. Anything you want to add, Tiff?
Only thing that I will say is that how can I explain it so that it can be received properly? When I'll explain it this way. If you're white and you're at home and you leave and you're riding down the street and a cop is behind you, you have no sense of panic. You have no sense of fear because you know that there's nothing going to happen to you if you come in contact with the police. That is not the same for me. So I have brothers, I have sisters, I have nephews, I have a father, and I worry when they leave. And if you want to negate my fear by saying, oh, well, everybody gets accosted by the police, way more people get shot more than black people do, then show me the receipts. I want to see it because I don't see white people sitting at home worrying if their fathers and mothers and sisters and brothers are going to be making it home. I don't see them taking pictures of dead people in police stations to make it look like they're alive so that they don't get in trouble for killing somebody. I don't see a cop walking up to a man in a car that happens to be white and shooting him 7 times in the chest while his daughter and his girlfriend is in the car. I don't see that. So no, I'm not going to I'm not going to be okay with saying when you come up to me or we're having a conversation about something like this and you negate what I say by saying, well, all lives matter. Yeah, they do matter. But mine matters just a little bit less when I come in contact with someone who has the authority to decide whether I should live or die. So forgive me
Right.
if I don't feel as safe as you do. That's all.
Exactly. Dak Dog said, "You're right. No one should lose their life when they are not doing something that directly puts someone else's life in jeopardy. But to single out blacks as the only group that is being done wrong. What I'm going to say to that, because you had mentioned, other groups get killed by cops too as well. Then if it's a problem for everybody, then it's a problem. So we do need to solve it, right?" Okay, to say that I don't have a sense of fear when the cops pull up behind me is completely wrong. Uh They have guns
Okay.
and mistakes. Okay.
Mistakes happen. Wow. That's
Okay.
interesting.
Okay. Okay. Moving on. I'm done
Right.
with that. Moving on.
I'm sure you do, sir. Mhm.
Moving on. I did want to speak with about Kanye. We kind of touched on it because you said the whole, you feel bad because there's something wrong with him. I personally, AT2, this is me. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I think every move that Kanye does is calculated. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to, because it's been this whole movement in the last few years with black people. I noticed, like, to think outside the box. I don't want to be put in a box. I want to think outside the box. And it's completely fine to think outside the box. I want you to think outside the box. I think outside the box, but I also live in reality. What do you have to say about that, Tiff?
Um, wow. Kenny is 100% right. These conversations are
Oh, I
very
didn't see your
difficult
comment.
when people are not able to see your side. And they're always ready to come with a rebuttal, but they're not really hearing what you're saying. Um, it is very frustrating. Um, but I will say that I do hear what Jack Dog is saying, and I can understand what he's saying. If he truly has fear when the police comes up behind him, then I sympathize with you, and you should sympathize with me. And it just is what it is. To move on to the Kanye situation, um, I I do think that there are certain ways that he operates that is calculated, and he does things specifically for clout, which makes it even worse because it just feels like these antics and things that you do are just ridiculous.
Right.
Um, Starting out with the first thing that he did that really pissed me off was when he said that slavery was a choice. I just was like, not even what? When Bush was in office, you were like calling George Bush a racist on national television. And the first thing that you say, and the first thing that you do is you go, "Oh yeah, well, it's a choice. Like slavery was a choice, clearly." And I'm like, "Yeah, kill yourself or be a slave for over hundreds of years. Families are enslaved. Families are breeded. They're bred like cattle, and yeah, that was a choice. We all chose. They chose that life. That made a
Right. But
lot of
then
sense.
But then
Then
people are trying to articulate it and explain it so it makes sense to us. But it's all like, no, we heard what he said.
it it's just so it's very disheartening, and it's like you want to be able to say celebrities should be able to speak their minds when it comes to politics or whatever topic they want to talk about. They should be able to talk about it, right? Just like
Right.
we should be able to talk about it.
Yeah. Thank you, Dak Dog. I appreciate that. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I don't appreciate you for watching or commenting, because I feel like we do need to have a dialogue, and sometimes it can be frustrating. I'm not negating anything that you're saying, but I just want you to understand where we're coming from as well. Go ahead, Tiff. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like I said, what he's saying is true. I do understand what he's trying to say. I just feel like when I speak from my perspective, I'm told that I should encompass everybody, and I can't because everybody doesn't do the same for me. So I can't speak for everyone when I'm not spoken for.
Say it louder
That's
for
the
the people in
point.
the back.
That's what I'm trying to say. I would never make it seem like it's only about black people. That's not the point. The point is what I'm seeing is black people are being killed. I don't see white people being murdered on TV or videos circulating of them being killed. And you don't hear about situations like with Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown. You don't hear that. You're not seeing that. And that's where I'm saying it's like you cannot negate the situations that are being shown. You cannot do that. And then the things that aren't being seen that I experience on my own that affects me because of what I look like, that has nothing to do with all lives. That has to do with me and how I was brought, how I was born, what I look like. That encompasses Black lives because that is an experience that is specific to me because of what I look
To
like.
you, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking
I
about it
wanted
in
to
your
read.
perspective.
I wanted
I
to read
can't.
Carol's comment because I'm not sure how to feel about it. It says black celebs should vote and shut the fuck up. Oh damn it, I said the F word. But everybody on here is unknown and can say whatever they want to say. Make that make sense, dummies.
Who's a dummy?
Am I the dummy?
Girl, first of all, let me say this like I said very clearly, celebrities can say whatever they want to say. But I am not going to hold your opinion up as a holy grail, and that is how I make my decisions for who I vote for and what I do. Because it's irrelevant to me. What you say does not affect me. So I can give less than a fuck about what Jay Z, Beyonce, Ice Cube, or the rest of them. I don't care. They can say whatever they want to say. I am not telling them they can't say anything, but I'm not going to have you writing policies for my community when it directly affects me and it really doesn't directly affect you. Not in that regard.
Dak Dog said, "Are we not seeing
So
the non-black people who are done injustice on TV because the political news networks?"
that's
I want
very
to
true.
address. Yeah, I want to address the media attention because sometimes it's all like, "Oh well, I forgot what the kid was named,
But to
but
be, hold on a second. Hold on a second, Jerry. Hold on a second. To be clear, didn't say that I only see it on television. This comes across social media timelines, and I physically have seen it and experienced it. So don't make it about just TV. I clearly said that some of these experiences I myself have directly experienced because of what I look like. It's not always about what I see on TV because I can turn my TV off and I can get a ding on my phone and it's not from CNN or from CBS, ABC, or any other political network. It's
right,
being
TikTok,
shared. It's being shared all across the world. You're seeing the same videos. This isn't about always political agendas. This is just you. Okay, this video is circulating. Look at this. Look at what happened in Philadelphia. That video was circulated on social media, and then the
right.
media picked it up. That's all I'm
And
saying.
I just want to say something to that. With the media is not kind to anybody because there's been this thing that the media is only mean to Republicans, but they're not nice to black people, Asian people. It don't matter who you are. The media is all about creating money, getting advertisements, getting a profit. They need profit. So whatever sells at that time, that's what they're going to put out there. So I just wanted to say that it's all about money. It's not about anything, regarding the networks or anything like that. It's all about money.
Sure. I just so Carol knows, your mama's a dummy. If you're calling me a dummy, your mama's a dummy. That's where we
Your
at.
mama.
Now I was me. Now let's keep it real. That dog's been sitting in here saying what he had to say. He ain't said nothing disrespectful to me. Ain't called neither one of us out our names. We
Right.
had a decent conversation. I can still be respectful to him, even though he disagrees with some of my statements, and that's fine. I don't have to go out my way to be disrespectful because I disagree with some of the things he's saying. So he said it himself. I still respect y'all opinion, even though I disagree with him, and that's cool. That's called being an adult. So don't
Right.
come at me with no bullshit. Fuck the stream. Fuck the stream, AT2. Don't come at me with no bullshit and trying to call me a dummy. All right? Don't do that because you're going to get your ass chewed out.
Right.
Period.
Trust me. Don't come in here with the bullshit. Like Dak Dog, for example, like you said, Tiff, like even though we having disagreements, we haven't called each other out our name. So don't come in here calling us out our name. Like don't get me wrong, because I'm gonna put it on the screen and show it, because I want to be able to cuss your ass out and want the people to know what I'm cussing at when you do that dumb shit. So don't come in here being disrespectful, calling people dummies, because your mama probably a dummy, you know?
Period.
But anyway, go ahead,
I'm just
Tiff.
saying. I'm just saying. Now he responded. He said, "I'm not saying it's just TV. That was just an example. I get what you're saying, and I'm not negating what you're saying. I'm just telling you straight up. It wasn't just about TV. I'm telling you what I've seen and what I've experienced myself. So you get it from the media. You're getting it from social media, and then I have my own personal experience with it. So I'm not negating what you're saying because you're right when you're talking about how the media leverages certain information to turn us against each other. You're 100% correct in that regard. But I'm not focusing solely on the media. It is a wheel, it's a cog in the wheel. It's a part of the machine. It's not the only aspect of the machine. It's just a part of it. So I just wanted to make that clear. So we all on the same page. We might be reading different parts, but we on the same page. You feel what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm not just to go back to the Kanye part. He just to me, I can't rationalize his behavior. And at first, I was just like, you know, somebody's got to be around to corral him. Like, what the hell is he doing? And like the Kardashians are they're his clan, and they just let him run rampant. He's saying stuff out the way, off the wall, pissing off everybody, not just black people, but everybody.
Everybody.
Just everybody. And it's just like, son, like you know full well that if you didn't have the money and the affluence that you had, that you would be right in the trenches with us. And that's another problem that I have. You don't have to be on the ground level with us. You're a part of the one percenters. You're making enough money to be able to have a certain level of life where you don't have to worry about where you can get good food from. You don't have to worry
Right.
about being redlined for your house. You don't have to worry about going into a bank and told, oh, you can't get it, even though your credit score is over 800. You don't have to worry about that shit because you got the money to pay for it right then and there. Money makes the world go round. You don't have to worry about that shit. So it's interesting to me how y'all are the ones who want to write the plans for the black community and have all these conversations about the black community, but you're not even in it. You live in
Right.
Beverly Hills. You are shopping on Rodeo Drive. You don't shop at the TJ Maxx and Marshalls. You ain't at the local Piggly Wiggly with the rest of us. So what the fuck? You don't know.
Right. And that brings me to my point when in the last video, if you guys seen, I kind of ended off when I was talking about the opportunity zones. A lot of like black celebrities like Killer Mike, T.I., they were at this Revolt conference that Diddy was running, and they were talking about like, yeah, I like the opportunity zones and stuff like that. But what it is that the opportunity zones, one, that doesn't mean that that's going to be invested by a black person. Two, it doesn't mean that a business is going to be there and create jobs for black people and minorities. And then three, most of the time those opportunity zones are real estate, and they're building those high-rise condos that cause the rent to go up because they have to raise the taxes, and then it moves all the black people and people of color out these communities that they built families with and generations because they no longer can afford the rent there. So I think,
Well,
go ahead,
I
Tiff.
don't, in that regard, I don't think it just affects black people. It affects marginalized poor people, and
Right,
just because the black community is a part of that, that doesn't mean that it only affects black people, white people, Hispanics, Asians, all of us that are below that $100,000, or rather, everybody that makes below $40,000 a year. could be considered below that poverty line. If you're living in low income neighborhoods, then that is a very real possibility, especially if you're living, I don't mean to be mean, Dre, but California is expensive. It's expensive to live there, okay?
Yeah.
Shoot, because I'm sorry, but $30,000 a year, that's a lot. That's a little bit of money. That is a little bit of money to live in California. You got your rent, $1,500. Bread is
Mhm.
expensive. You got to choose if you can eat. That's a lot. So when you're looking
It's
at
hard out here for a pimp. Dak Dog said, I agree that Kanye for sure says some off the wall stuff. I'm not sure I would say I or he is doing something stupid for sharing his opinion.
no, I don't think any celebrity sharing their opinion is stupid. The point
No,
that
he said stupid
they can do
things.
whatever
That's
they
what he
want.
meant.
Yeah, like they're doing stupid things. Like what he's doing is outlandish, and it just sounds crazy. And I'm just like, what are you doing? But I don't care about it in regards to how I'm going to vote. Like people, I'll explain it to you. So if you're not black, then I'll make it so that you understand. When you look at how our community is structured, and this is on us, so this in this regard, you just have to listen to what I'm saying because it is on the black community. Okay, black
Right.
people hold money at the top of the list. Money is what buys it. You can buy your education with money. Money makes sure you live in a nice place. Money makes sure you look nice. Money makes sure you have a nice car. So having money is something to revere. Having money means something. It puts you on the top of the social status block in the black community, right? So when you're talking about somebody like Kanye and you have people who are not thinking, they're not using their heads in terms of, okay, yeah, that's Kanye West. He makes decent music, but he should not be telling me who I should and shouldn't vote for, right? It's
Mhm.
like they're like, okay, Kanye's running after Trump. Maybe I should too. Like Kanye's telling everybody that Donald Trump is the greatest president in the world. Oh well, that must be true too. It's like you have to think for yourself. You have to start using your head. You cannot allow people to influence how you live and what you do simply because they have money. I'm not saying that he's not smart. I'm not saying that any of the other celebrities aren't smart people because they are. They are intelligent people. They know how to maintain their livelihood and they are smart in certain areas. But it doesn't mean that their opinions about your political affiliate or their political affiliate should influence yours. That's my
Right.
point. What he says is outlandish. You're asking what he says is outlandish. First of all, slavery was not a choice. That's the first thing. And secondly, he said, let me go see if I can find it because I don't want to make no misappropriations up in here. So
Okay.
while I
While
go,
you do that, I wanted to
while
put
I
the
go
picture.
find it, I'll
I
let
want to put the
AP2
picture
talk.
up of this guy. For those of you who don't know who this is Daniel Cameron. He's the Attorney General of Kentucky. He's the man responsible for not getting those officers prosecuted that killed Breonna Taylor. The reason why I put his picture up here because I know we're talking about voting and stuff like that, but I wanted to put a highlight on how important it is to vote for all positions and know what you're voting for. Attorney General is a voted position. This guy was voted in. So he actually has 3 more years now. He was voted in 2019. He has 3 more years. This is why it's important because you have somebody like this. What's that saying? All skin folk ain't kin folk. This is an example of that because this guy is not for us. No, so when you look at a candidate, you need to research their history because just because they look like you don't mean they're for you. Tiff, did you find your quote? Oh no. Okay. Well, Tiff gonna be back. Hopefully. Um. Uh. Hold on. Let me put the link in there. And for those of you guys watching, you can also join. Everybody opinion is welcome. You can have your time to shine in there, and then I'll put you. I'll take you off the screen, and then I'll bring you back at the end. Truth. You can't just take what someone says and run with it. For example, we've seen that a lot during the Trump's term. Big laugh out loud, great picture. Yeah. He is stating his opinion because he wants others to care and think the way he does. But the problem with his opinion is that he's putting a lot of misinformation out there, um, especially when it comes to Democrats are the reason. And I'll give you an example. When he says Democrats are the reason why want to keep black people on welfare and stuff like that, it's very important that you understand that 40% of people on welfare are actually white. Minorities each make a small percentage of the pie, but majority are white people. There's not a system that keeps black people wanting welfare if they're not the major recipients of welfare. So that's another thing that Kanye puts out there. Tiff, did you find your quote?
No, I'm looking for it still.
Oh, okay, you
I
still
got
looking
kicked
for it?
out. I
Oh,
got kicked
okay.
out when I was looking for it. I'm like, what the hell? I
Your
didn't even do nothing
internet.
this time.
That internet.
I was like, I was
Kenny
good
said,
this time. I didn't say nothing. I didn't do anything.
oh, okay. Kenny said, I'm sorry, but I ain't thinking like Kanye. His opinions are his own, correct, but dangerous, low key. Yeah. Dak Dog
What?
said, all skin folk ain't kin folk. Sounds kind of racist. I'm not responding to that, Dak Dog. I ain't responding to that.
It's not racist, but I guess you could say it's low key prejudice. It's that. I wouldn't say it's racist though.
I don't even
Um.
think prejudice. Just all skin folk ain't kin. Candace Owens. She got the same skin, but she ain't our folk.
Okay, so here's my thing with Candace. Although I don't agree with everything Candace says, I do think Candace is right when she says that we need to put education as at the forefront. You need to be educated. You need to stop following behind like rappers. I don't believe in the whole Blackzit thing that she's touting. That part I don't agree with. I don't want to be a Republican. I'm not. I'm not a conservative nor am I a liberal. I want people who actually align with my viewpoints. And I do understand that not everybody's going to fully align with everything that I believe or like. No, Jack Dog is not talking about skin color. It's like, how can I explain it?
It's funny
People,
because
it's
I
an
think
old.
Jack Dog really wants to understand. I don't think he's trying
No,
to be
it's
combative. I think he really
No,
wants to
it's
understand.
fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. I totally understand. It's an old school say. It's basically yes, they look like me. Yes, we look alike. Yes, we all should be in the camaraderie together. But that's not always the case. They ain't gonna always have your back. It's basically what that means. Just because
Right.
you look like me don't mean that we gonna be on the same team. We're gonna have opposing views and opposing attitudes, and we're gonna butt heads. That's what that means. Really don't have a lot to do with skin color, and it's just a mainstay of just because AT2 looks like me, it don't mean that we all gonna be kumbaya together. That's pretty much what that means. It's a very very old school saying that our grandparents and great grandparents used to say, and it just
Right, because I had a few black managers and supervisors that I didn't like because they was skin folk, but they wasn't kin folk. Go ahead, Tiff.
he keeps saying it, and he's making it worse. Is what he's doing. He's making it worse.
I
He's
don't
making
know.
it like,
I'm
yeah.
just saying. I don't know how to put it another way.
He's making it so much worse.
Okay, Kenny says the policies in place now just need to line up with the times now because they are too old school. Yeah, Kenny, you're right. They need to align with the times that we're in now. There were things that were acceptable back then, but now they're not. So we have to recognize that and change that. But we're all humans and we all look alike as far as two legs, two arms, a head, and a body. That
Wait,
was
what
a
are you
nicer
saying? I'm
way
gonna
of
go
saying
there.
all lives matter. Tiff, you got your quote yet?
I'm looking at it now. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. And
Yeah, I didn't even watch
he,
that because I knew it was BS.
yeah, he was on a Joe Rogan podcast, and he was having a conversation with Joe Rogan, and I saw the quote there, and that's what I'm going through now is the quote that he was talking about. So I'm almost there because I saw it and I was just like, what is this? The reality is, I don't know. It doesn't matter that much. Just my thoughts. Okay, wait. He said, but we're all
While you're
humans.
looking for the quote, I do want to talk about Candace Owens, my opinion with her. My opinion of
Sure.
her is that I don't think she's brilliant. I don't think she's correct in a lot of what she's saying. Yes, education is a part of it, but then when she talks about how the black fathers are not in, I just really hate that whole black father thing because I had my dad, and I do know people that didn't have their father in their life, but that doesn't make you a shit person. If you were going to be a shit person, that's just what you were going to be. You can't always blame it on the black father this, because we don't know if they're taking that statistic for, black fathers not being in their life because they're not married. It's a child out of wedlock, or the father is really not there. We don't know exactly where they're getting that statistic from, because statistics are used to further your point of view, and statistics are biased. So I just wanted to address that, and that's my issue with Candace Owens. Besides, she caters to white supremacy and stuff like that. But
Oh
go ahead.
Lord, Lord Jesus, Lord have mercy. So
I'm just
dark in
saying.
here. So dark. It's just so
Well, I
dark.
can't say my saying anymore because it sounds like racist. But racist. But kin, folk,
You can say
kin
it. It's
dog
at your
folk.
discretion. It ain't. It's I think Candace has, like I said, the woman is educated enough to have an opinion on the matter. It may not be something that I agree with, but I'm just not. I don't really vibe with Candace on that level. Yeah, she agrees with what some people say in terms of the black community being, some of them being fatherless, but there are Hispanic community has fathers who are not around. The white community has fathers who are not around. That community happens. That happens in all communities. It's not just black communities. It also, it does affect you when you don't have a parent around. And um, it doesn't mean that you're definitely going to be a criminal, but that dog is right when he says you have a higher likelihood of getting involved in crime. It happens in the black community, but it happens in all
Mhm.
communities. That is
Right.
that is that is not something that is marginalized just to fit us. It fits everybody. There are gangs for white communities, there are gangs for black communities, for the Asian community, for Hispanic communities. There are criminals in from all walks of life, and they come from all different backgrounds and colors. And it can stem from fatherless homes, motherless homes, or abuse, whether it be sexual, physical, or mental, whatever the case may be. Um, it happens. But she's speaking as a black woman. She's speaking about the community as a whole. So let's focus on what she talks about. If you are concerned about the black community, instead of constantly shaking your finger at it, maybe you should be helping to fix the black community. You started out by making something out of yourself, and instead of giving kids something to look to hope for, you decided to turn around and attack it and go, look at what I am, and you see what I am. I'm here, and clearly you're here, and you don't want to be anywhere but here. It's I'm here and you're down here type of situation. That's what I
Right.
don't like about Candace.
And not to cut you off, Tiff, but I do want to mention that I don't think she actually has a plan for black people. Not saying that we need to look for Candace Owens for a plan, but I want to say that what her plan is that you join the Republicans and your life will be better. That's what her plan is, basically. That's what I also don't like.
First of all, I don't think that it is okay to look to politicians for you look to politicians for improvement in regards to um, bettering our livelihood in terms of laws being created so that we're all protected, so that we're not discriminated against, so that we have a fair shake in life. That is what I look to a politician for. Everything else can be done in the community on our own. I don't need somebody else to come in and tell me how I should and shouldn't live and what I should and shouldn't do. If
Right.
anybody knows the black community the most, the black community does. Now, don't take it as because you're black, you can't come in. We closing the gates because we don't operate that way. You're more than welcome to come and go as you please. This is America, okay? But the thing I'm saying is, if you want to have a better quality of life, or you want to feel like you can have better, then you can't put yourself in the mindset. Like I put it this way: as a project kid, I grew up in the project. Okay, my parents didn't have the money to take care of us. There were five of us. My parents were in the military. My father was in the military. My mother was in the military. My my family as a whole served in the military. Um, all of my brothers and sisters were in the military except for my younger brother. My husband was an airman in the Air Force. So I'm very much um, a supporter of the military. I love the military. It provides a lifestyle for you. You get to travel across the world and see things that no kid would ever get to see at 18. There's no way you would ever know that you would be able to go to Italy or Paris or to go to
Right.
Japan and be able to see all of these things and to be able to experience other lifestyles and other cultures. You don't think you'll be able to do that. And to go into the military, it allows you to be able to see those things. I grew up traveling, and after when I was 4, my parents settled in Cleveland, Ohio. We stayed there. My mom and dad struggled after they got out of the military, and they took care of us. It was 5 children. None of us
And
got pregnant in the projects. My sisters, there were three girls, 2 boys. None of us got pregnant. My brother went into the military, went home. My sister went into the military when she left home. My younger sister went into the military. I went to college. I did not go into the military. I chose to go to college. My younger brother chose to go to college. That's just what we did. They raised productive kids, and we came from the projects. We heard people getting shot. We saw people getting shot in the street. So
right.
it's not always about your environment, it's how you're raised. I had my father. I still have my father. I had my mother. My mother and father have been married. My birth year marks the length of their marriage. They've been
That's
married
a
34
blessing.
years this year. So it's not always, well, they're fatherless communities. Yeah, there are a lot of fatherless communities, but I've been in the projects. I know what it's like. I've seen it. I've been there. And the community is a community. In the project, if you rally the community together, they can live productive lives. But you have to value the life. You have to value where you live. That means you have to
Right.
put work and stock into where you live. It's
Hey,
not always
you can make your apartment in the hood look like Beverly Hills, you know? Just because you live in the hood don't mean it gotta look all broken down, you know?
exactly.
Tiff, I think your sound went out. Did your sound go out? Tiff, your internet. While we wait for Tiff, I just wanted to say, oh, she's back. Hold on. While we wait for Tiff, I just wanted to say, you see what's scrolling down there? That's the Cash App. If you want to help with the show as far as like us getting new graphics and all that good stuff, like I said, I got a card note that's late. So if you want to give $1 or two, you always can. You know I got to promote myself. Oh, and make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm gonna bring Tiff back.
Sorry, it keeps kicking me out. I didn't do anything this time. I was good. I didn't say anything bad, so I don't know why. I'm just saying
Oh,
there
okay.
there there were kids that I grew up with that were older than me that didn't have dads, and they grew up and they have businesses, they have their fathers to their children, they lead productive lives, they have degrees, they did everything they could to not be their fathers. So even though 65% of the black community, according to this particular website that Dak Dog put up, even though they have this statistic, they aren't telling you everything. They're only telling you a part of it. And all of us are not the
Right.
same. All of us that didn't have fathers aren't trying to be drug dealers or out there running around, or being sex trafficked or anything that's horrible that can happen to you like that. Not all of us are like that. That's
Right.
all
And
I'm
I want
saying.
to read Kenny's
And I know,
comment. Kenny,
not
I
to be,
might
not to
need you
cut you
for a
off,
future show. Oh, go ahead.
not to cut you off, but I just want to make sure that dog understands. I'm not saying that's what you said. I'm just talking in general. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead.
Kenny said facts. My dad wasn't the best, but my mom made sure we were straight. We ain't out here involving ourselves in crime and setting ourselves up to have a good future. Oh, we're setting ourselves up to have a good future. Okay. I might need you for a future show because somebody had mentioned a topic regarding coming from not a broken home, but having an absentee parent in your life. So I might need you for a future show, Kenny, if you don't mind. Um, Tiff, were you able to find the quote from Kanye from the Joe Rogan show or no?
No, I saw the Joe Rogan show, but I can't find a damn quote. He said
Okay.
something that I was looking at, and I was just like, "What the hell is going on here?" And I could not figure out what he was talking about. And I happened to pull it up, and then I'm like, "Okay, I know, I got it," and then I lost it. I can't, can't fucking find it, and I'm probably gonna end up finding it. I'm probably gonna end
Right
up
after we're
finding it.
done, huh?
Yeah, when I'm not even talking about it. When we're not talking about it and it's over, I'm gonna end up finding it. Like I know I
Right. I wanted to mention 50 Cent because I had posted something on my Instagram and I wanted to do this publicly because I thought of the topic for the show. Um, he had posted something about like the taxes going up in each city and stuff like that. Fox News had actually did a news story on it, and I had posted it on mine. And it is true that Joe Biden is trying to tax people making over higher taxes for people making over 400,000 a year. Now, necessarily where Fox News had it wrong is that they said that it was going to be like 62%, 60%, and all these crazy amounts. That's not true. It's not going to be that much. So I wanted to apologize for me putting misinformation out there. But 50 Cent did confirm that he's not a Trump supporter or anything like that. He's always trolling, and I always thought he was trolling. I never took it serious that he was actually voting for Trump or anything like that. Do you have any opinion about 50 Cent, Tiff?
50 Cent is a douchebag. But anyway, he's a douchebag. No, I don't. I feel like 50 is a lot of the people who make over $1 million are upset because he's gonna impose this tax. Um,
Hmm.
I feel like it's about goddamn time. We bear the brunt of all the taxes 90% of
Right.
the time. We have to pay for taxes to make sure the schools are better for these kids so they can have decent schools. We bear the brunt for taxes to fix these roads. We bear the brunt for taxes for pretty much everything. Middle class,
Right.
lower poverty class people, we're bearing the brunt for everything while the rich keep living the best of their lives.
But
They don't
but
want to be
don't rich
taxed.
people evade taxes anyway and know all the shortcuts and put their properties in places where don't have any state tax or anything like that? I'm just saying.
That is a very generalized statement, and I won't say that because I don't think that's true for everyone. What I think happens is there are
Majority,
loopholes.
allegedly.
There are loopholes in the tax law, and there are taxes that are created that gives them tax breaks for having property, for owning businesses, and for all kinds of things that happens, which is fine. If the law is there and you don't take advantage of it, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? It's not their fault that the
Right.
law was created unless they were, lobbying to get the law created. Then that's a whole other conversation. But if they're just taking advantage of a law that was created, which one point that Trump made when it came to Joe Biden is true. He was like, Joe Biden was like, well, you haven't paid taxes in such and such years. He was like, well, you created the law. So why are you mad at me for taking advantage of something you created? He has a very valid point. That is the one time that I can definitively say Donald Trump was very right. He did not have anything to do with that law created. The law was created by the people who are already in office. So if he was taking advantage of a law you created, you cannot fault him for that. And that's very true. So I'm not faulting rich people per se for taking advantage of the law. What I fault them for is bitching and moaning about having to pay taxes when we've been footing the bill for the taxes for a very long time. And I'm sorry, but I'd like a well-deserved break, seeing as how I'm way below six figures. I'm just saying.
Right. And
I'd like to be able to keep a little bit of money in my pocket too.
Show.
Oh God, Jesus.
Okay, before we wrap up, I did want to play a clip of Roland Martin. Shout out to Roland Martin. He's very, 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 very educated. I love his opinions, even if I don't agree with his opinions. I love his opinions, but I wanted to play the clip to kind of wrap up the show because he put into words what I wanted to say, but didn't know how to articulate. Here we go.
Show me how many times is George Clooney speaking for white America. Now, I know MSNBC has Michael Moore on there a whole lot because he's there speaking for white folks in Michigan. But please, show me where they bring all these white entertainers and put them in the chair to have conversations about criminal justice reform, economics, housing, black maternity. How many times? I'll tell you why. Because it is designed for them to have folk entertain us and not inform us. See, they actually believe, and then black media, no. When white folks are talking policy, they have Nobel laureates, economists, policymakers, members of Congress, folks with think tanks. That's what they have. But what they'll do to black folks is feed us an entertainer thinking that's who we following. And if you also black and you make comments such as, we are going to be led in the future by entertainers, you done lost your mind. Now, let me be real clear. I know lots of people in entertainment. I am not begrudging or criticizing what they do. But there was a reason I asked Ice Cube the question, where were you during the primary? There's a reason I asked him the question, where were you before George Floyd was being killed? And he actually gave the answer. He said, I was doing what I do, which means when you're a singer, your ass sing. If you're an actor, your ass act. If you're on Broadway, your job is to be on Broadway. If you are somebody who's a dancer, your job is to dance. Harry Belafonte knew what his job was. He knew he wasn't the one to lead the march. He said, I'm here to help you, Dr. King. Dick Gregory came off the stage in activism, but Dick Gregory also understood what his role was. James Brown knew what his role was. Berry Gordy knew what his role was. Diane Carroll knew what her role was. Sidney Poitier knew what his role was. They said, our job is to amplify the movement. Our job is to help fund the movement. Our job is to help.
Yeah, so that's what Roland Martin said on his show today, and it just resonated with me. And I wanted to play, the reason why I played that whole long clip, well, I had to split it up, but I played that whole long clip because what he stated at the end was like, you're supposed to use your voice to elevate. You're supposed to help fund the issue. Like that's what you're supposed to be doing, not going on CNN and MSNBC and stuff like that, being like the representative for Black people. You know.
I agree. He's
Kenny, I
right.
see your comment. The only reason why I don't want to talk about that today is because I don't want to get in the whole QAnon situation, because we'll be on here for another 3 hours if we get all into that. But we can talk
child,
about
no,
that.
we not. Shoot. No, we ain't. No, we ain't talking no 3 hours.
Right.
No, sir.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to avoid that. But Tiff, what were you saying about what were your thoughts about the Roland Martin clip?
Roland Martin is 100% correct. That is what I mean when I say you can't hold celebrities at the regard and just be like, okay, they're my moon and my sun. I need to listen to them and follow them. You can't do that. I'm not saying that they're not smart enough to have an informed opinion about politics, because if that's the case, if they're not smart enough, then neither are we. If you're going to go there, neither are we. No one's saying they shouldn't be allowed to say anything. What I'm saying is the people who are receiving the message have the option to use it as a guiding compass, or just be like, well, Kanye West believes that, slavery was a choice. That's his belief. I don't give a fuck about what he thought. I don't care. Like, you can't hold them in high regard. What Roland Martin is talking about is how when you go to CNN, they put people like, well, it's not always celebrities. Let's just clear it so it makes sense. It's not always celebrities. They do have Black educated individuals who are who are part of politics, who do political commentary on a regular basis. They do have that. I do think that Dak Dog is 100% correct. It is up to each individual to decide what to believe or not, and that's what I'm saying. They can do whatever they want to do, but that's what I was trying to tell you before. The Black community is structured in a way so that when people like Lil Wayne come out and people like 50 Cent come out and Ice Cube, because they have so much affluence and there's a level of respect that is being given to them because of their money, because of their position in the community, their opinion is respected and it is pushed as like the gospel. And it's just like, no, that's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. And that's why I say, just because Lil Wayne is endorsing Donald Trump, that is his right to do so. I choose not to endorse Donald Trump. That's my right to do so. It's not my right to tell him why he shouldn't endorse Donald Trump. He can do what he wants. If that's who he wants to vote for, if that's who he wants to corral around because he believes in his policy, it is not my place to sway his vote. He is allowed to do what he wants to do. But me personally, I choose not to, because he does not align with my beliefs and what I want. So it's not like you have to listen to everything that that's what's being heard. But Roland Martin makes a very good point about the Black community holding these opinions in such high regard. You can't do that because, one, their opinions, and sometimes it's just not based in a lot of facts. It's based in their personal opinions and beliefs.
Right.
So they can do whatever the hell they want. I don't have no opinion one way or another about Ice Cube or whatever. And here's why Roland Martin is saying what he's saying. Because in regards to your comment, you said if someone is treating it as gospel, that's on them, not on the person speaking it. It would be true.
Go ahead and speak, Tiff.
Ice Cube, and it would be true if Ice Cube and Diddy were not talking about leveraging the Black vote to gain something in the political landscape. It'd be true if Ice Cube wasn't putting forward a plan that would structure to supposedly, because I can't speak on the plan because I haven't seen it. I've only seen pieces of the plan he wrote, and I read the platinum plan from Donald Trump. So, like I said, it would be different if these people were not giving plans for the Black community or speaking on behalf of the Black community. Did say that he was speaking on behalf of the Black community. And when you're going to a president-elect or a presidential candidate to have a conversation about the Black community, you are putting yourself in a position to speak for the Black community, and that's where you're making your mistake.
Yes, and that dog.
Your
That
problem
is
with
what
the Black
she's saying.
community because they are treating it as the gospel rather than the person speaking it. That is my problem.
Yeah,
Yes, you're
that's the problem.
100% correct. That is my issue because you can't do that. You can't do that and then get mad because their opinion doesn't align with yours. That is a direct contradictory. You cannot do that. So that is my issue. And I have said this on many occasions. I don't like it because it's not fair. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't make it true. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
You
he's
cannot-
agreeing with you. He was reiterating what you were saying, Tiff. He wasn't saying that, no.
No. I'm looking at his comment. He said, so they are speaking. So because they say they are speaking for the Black community, that makes it true. I was saying, no, that it doesn't make it true. But because they are standing up and saying, yes, we're speaking for the Black community, it comes across like you're speaking for me. You cannot speak for me. I'm my own person. I make my own decisions.
And
But no,
especially
you're speaking,
when you said they were telling people to hold out on their vote and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, no matter who's president, they're rich. It's not going to matter to them, you know?
It directly correlates with what I'm saying. And I'm like, you can't hold our votes hostage and sit up and have a conversation about a community that you yourself are not involved in. You're not involved in the community. Not on that level. You don't really do anything in the community. Not on that level besides sell us alcohol and movies and TV shows and basketball.
But wasn't involved, and I like that Roland Martin pointed out, like, wasn't involved until recently, you know, like when he said, where were you with George Floyd? Where were you in this? And then he said, like, Ice Cube said, I was doing what I was doing, you know.
Which is why you can't just come out the blue with no plan when you ain't even involved. You have not involved yourself in the community. That's what I'm saying. It's not that they can't have an opinion. It's not that they're not allowed to speak on their experience as a Black person because they're well within their right to do so. The point I'm saying is you cannot go and speak to anybody for a community that you don't even operate in. You can't do that.
Right. Derek Dog said, okay, that's fine to be upset with him because he said he is speaking for the community. The issue I take, though, is you're not only calling him out for that, but you are calling him out for his political opinion.
No,
but I think we already stated why we had an issue, why we're quote unquote calling him out.
I'm not calling him out for his political opinion. Like I said, he can have his political opinion. He's allowed to be to affiliate himself with whoever. It has no bearing on me and what I do. So I don't care about who they're politically affiliated with. I choose not to be politically affiliated with certain people. So if I don't care for Donald Trump and Lil Wayne is running around saying he endorses Donald Trump, that's on him. But I am not going to endorse Donald Trump. That's not something that I'm choosing to do. I'm not doing that. But I'm not saying, oh, well, he shouldn't be allowed to be he shouldn't be a Donald Trump supporter. He's well within his right to do so. Well within his right to do so. That's why we're allowed to vote. Right. He can endorse whoever he wants. I don't care. Just don't expect me to be following behind you like some sheep just because you're Lil Wayne. That's not happening.
Right. Hold on. Let me play a message for the people just in case before we wrap up.
Vote, 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 vote. Who's next? Vote, 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 no.
All right, Tiff, before we go ahead and give the people your information. And like Alexa said, plug the podcast.
Oh, Jesus. Every time? Come on here. Every single time. Well, I have a wrestling page. That's how I met this lovely human being, Dre. Through my wrestling page. I met him through there. So I have a wrestling page. You can follow me there. And it's at Design TV too. It's much different than this conversation that we're having here. I can guarantee you that.
It's more fun.
Yeah, and I do weekly commentary on wrestling. I do have a podcast with my friends Alexis, Nicole, and Janae, and we talk about wrestling on that podcast as well. And you can follow me there. I do have a YouTube channel, but that's all about makeup. My Instagram, the other Instagram I have is all about makeup as well. It's the same name. And I'll be back. I always come back and take over AT2 show. at least once a month. You know, I have to come give them a little flavor once a month. You know, a little seasoning salt, just a little bit.
Right, and she will be there for my birthday. I'll plan the promo at the end. I'll put the promo at the end of the show. But I also wanted to say, Tiff, I always appreciate your opinion. And even though we sometimes don't agree on everything, but I appreciate you and we respect each other no matter what. And I love you for being on the show. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh, sure. And that dog, as much as I disagree with you, I still got mad love for you, fam. Appreciate the conversation. I really, really do. And,
yeah, Kenny, we appreciate you too, by the way. But Dak Dog, I just wanted to say thank you for having a conversation with us because it's not easy to always have conversations with people. And make sure you like, share, subscribe, Dak Dog, and also everybody else. Make sure you do that. I don't know when the next live show is going to be, but I had fun doing this one. Like I said, I appreciate Tiff for being a part of this. And you guys can follow me, www.at2entertainment.com. That is my website. Remember, if you want to donate a couple of dollars, is my Cash App. Don't judge me. The Cash App is right there, the real AT2. Thank you guys for checking out the show.
Give him some coins. You got to share the coins.
Oh, and you know, I have my own podcast, which is Talk the Real Deal with AT2, which you can check out.
He don't never invite me. He don't never invite me to that podcast no more. I got one invite, and then he shunned me away, and then he let me come back once.
She over here lying, y'all. I barely came back to doing, recording podcast just this month. So no, she can be a part of the next show. But like I said, thank you guys for checking out the show. I'm gonna hit y'all with the birthday promo and then we out, y'all. And thank you for putting the links in the comments, Tiff. That was smart. I'm gonna do it in the description as well after we're done.
No problem. Bye.
All right, y'all. Deuces.
You're welcome to AT2's Dirty 2 live birthday celebration on December 18th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you guys are there. Remember, the theme is grown and sexy, or you can just come naked. We're going to have special guests. It's going to be a countdown show. We're going to count down our favorite moments from the show. Also, don't forget, bring a drink, bring your weed, whatever you want to. We're going to have a good time. We're going to play Never Have I Ever. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you guys for joining me for my birthday, December 18th. Be there or be square. Let's get real, y'all.
All right, y'all. You know what time it is. It's the end of the show.